Hi everyone, my name is Elena Ward, and today I'm going to be talking about how to lower your golf score. How many of you have ever played golf and gotten very frustrated? If there is one thing that many people have in common, it's golf. Many people have a hard time, but don't worry, you're not alone. Lowering your golf score is fairly easy. There are a few simple points to work on. First, we're going to start with getting your mental view straight. Next, we'll move on to learning basic swing techniques. Then we'll talk about chipping and putting. So the first step to take is one of the most important parts of the sport. It is your mental view. The first thing you need to do is to get your nerves out. Although the course is very intimidating at times with narrow fairways and crowded trees, you just need to loosen up and relax. The next thing to do is to go with your first instinct. Once you pick up a club, use that club. So if you pick up a 6-iron, for example, don't debate whether to use a 7-iron. Just go with the 6-iron. That's the first one you picked up, and that's most likely the correct club to use. After you pick your club and you're all ready, the next thing you need to do is to pick a target. Now, if you're driving off a tee box, your target is most likely not going to be the flag. So you need to pick a target such as like a palm tree that's, farther down the course. But if you're using irons, then your target is going to be the flagpole. So when you pick your target, all you have to do is line up to there, take a deep breath, and swing. The next step to work on is your basic swing technique. Now there's a lot of information and techniques, so I'm just going to make it simple and sum it up. Everyone is different. Everyone has different body physiques, so therefore everyone has a different style and different tempo. Now, since, you have to find out what's comfortable for you and what works for you, so it's all about the way you feel about golf and your swing. But there's another option, an option to get a pro. If you're looking to further your techniques and your career in golf, then the best decision would probably be to get a pro. Now, before we go on to working on swing techniques, I want to start with your stance. Your stance should be that you have your feet shoulder width apart, and you're standing far enough away from the ball where you're not hovering over it, but you're not stretching your arms out too far. You don't want to be reaching for the ball. You want to have a nice far enough stance where your arms fall down gently and you have a nice V, and then you can make like a nice easy swing. With that said, you want to have your knees slightly bent, and you want to have your back bent over the ball with your head up. Now, always keep your head down, but you do want it up to where it's kind of over the ball. So now, moving on to the swing, you want to make sure your swing's not long or not too long. You don't want, your club way up here and it's flopping around, because you're not going to be on plane. So you want to make sure that you have a nice enough swing to where you're stretched out, but it's kept in tight, kind of like a baseball swing. So you want to have a nice short swing so that way you stay on plane. The way your club goes up is the way you want your club to come down. You want one easy line. So the next thing to work on, once you get your stance right and your grip, I didn't talk about grip, but just do what feels comfortable for you for grip-wise. But once you get your swing and your stance all set, then you want to work on getting the face of the club correct. Like you want it to where it hits straight. So this is the face of the club, this is the blade, and then this is the butt. So this is your grip. And when you are swinging, you want this club to come down to where it hits the ball solid. You want to hit it in the middle every time. But it doesn't always happen. So that's why you need to shorten up your backswing. Now, when you're swinging, you want to make sure that it comes straight on. You don't want the club to be too closed or too open. So when it comes in like this, you want it right there. You want it on the middle every time. But you don't want it like this. You don't want it to come in closed to where it wraps around the ball. Because if it wraps around the ball, you're going to end up pulling the ball, and it's going to have shooting left. Now when it comes in with an open face, it comes in, and it's going to slice the ball because it's open, so it's going to slide out and shoot to the right. So you want to keep it fairly in the center, somewhere where the grid's marked, between these two white lines. I don't know if you can see it, but there's two white lines. You want to keep it in that grid pattern. If you're there, you're going to hit the sweet spot. Now, once you work on your swing, it's going to take practice to get used to everything. But a big factor that many people do is they lift up their head. They kind of jerk around. They're not sure. They want to see the ball. Keep your head down. It's the best. It's the most important. I had a hard time with keeping my head down for the longest time, and I was always like a bobblehead. It wasn't too steady. You want to keep steady, keep your head down, and wait till your shoulder. When you come through your follow through, you want your shoulder to hit your chin. So when your shoulder hits your chin, let it just turn on itself. So when you come through, turn with your shoulder. That's the best way I can explain it. Finally, the last step in lowering your golf score is to work on chipping and putting. Now, chipping is all about feel. It's the same thing with your other clubs, swinging and keeping your head down and everything. So just follow those rules. But you have to get a feel for it and kind of play around with it so you can get the ball up in the air and onto the green. It's whatever feels comfortable. But putting, there's a lot that goes into putting. You need to really pay attention to the green. I mean, everyone thinks the green, large greens, it's really scary, and it's just all about studying it. So when you're putting, you have to study the green. You have to look for breaks and slopes that'll throw your ball off. Once you find out the break and the slope, then you can kind of figure out, where to place the ball, where to aim to, and how it's going to fall in. The next thing to do is to look at the grain. Now, the grain, it determines your ball speed. So now you have the blades of the grass. The grass grows at an angle. So you have the blades of the grass, and you're putting. If you're putting into the blades, you're going to have more friction. So when it comes in, it's going to have to pull that grass over, and your ball is going to roll slower. Now, if it's coming the other way, if the grain is going, if you're putting with the grain, that means you're going to have less friction. Now, when it comes over, the ball is just going to roll over it and push it down. There's no friction there. It's just going to, it's going to be a faster ball speed. So you really have to pay attention to that, and that determines on how hard to putt the ball. Next thing to do is to line up your ball. Now, balls come with little arrows on them. So right here, on this one, there's two arrows on both sides. Now, this is the lineup. You either need to line it up to the hole or line up to your aiming point if there's a break or a slope. What a lot of people do, including myself, is we draw little lines on them. So what it is, you take those arrows and get a straight edge, and then you just draw a line on it. Now, this makes putting so much easier. Once you line up your ball, you have it lined up towards a hole or your slope, you don't have to worry about where it's lined up anymore. You just stand up, line up your putter to where that line is, because there's a line on the putter. You line that up with this line, and you're going to hit it to where your target is. So once you have that done, it's nothing to worry about. You just need to worry about your stroke. You need to take a practice swing before any club, especially with putting. Now, when you set up your feet, the longer the distance, the farther your feet are going to be farther apart. The closer the putt to the hole, you're going to have a shorter distance between your feet. Now, when you set up your feet when putting, and you're taking your swing, you want to make a nice, easy, same tempo. You want to keep it nice and even. You don't want to, go back slow and accelerate really fast, or accelerate back and then slow down and stop. You have to line up your feet. And when you swing, you want that club to go to your back foot and stop at your front foot every time. It's just going to be a nice, easy pendulum swing. And you just want to keep it constant that way. That way you have your ball lined up already, and then when you figure out the tempo, then you have that set. The last thing with putting is to keep your head down. Again, keeping your head down is a big factor in golf. You don't want to peek at the ball. If you're halfway through your putt swing and you look up, you're going to miss the ball. It's going to get a little off course. Your hands might open a little bit. When you turn your body, it's going to go a different direction, not to where you lined it up. So keep your head down and follow through. When you get to your front foot, your putter reaches that front foot, then you can look up. Then it's okay. Then you can see your putt. So in conclusion, after you've gone through all these hints and clues and you practice them, you should be very successful with your score. Nonetheless, it will never come together unless you practice. Practice makes perfect. So go out, have a good time with your friends, show them a few pointers, and just enjoy the outdoors and enjoy a sport that you can play now. If you follow these steps, you're going to skim off a few strokes, at least like 3 to 5 strokes off of your score. Just remember to have fun, get out there, enjoy yourself. So have fun, and I'll meet you on the 19th hole. Thank you.